Okay, so get this. Imagine a business that gives away its main service for free. And I don't just mean free, I mean they literally give you a bonus to use it. That sounds insane, right? Like a guaranteed way to go out of business. Well, what if I told you a small driving school did exactly that and didn't just survive, it became wildly profitable? Just how well did it work out? Well, the owner ended up making 80, that's 80 times more profit than he ever did charging for lessons. Yeah, 80x. That's not a typo. This is an amazing story about flipping a business model on its head and turning a struggling little company into an absolute profit machine. So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth do you make a killing by giving away the one thing you sell? Look, it's not magic, it's just a brilliant masterclass in strategy. So let's dive in and break it all down. All right, so to really get how brilliant this is, we need to meet the guy at the center of it all, Mr. Walker. He had this small driving school, and honestly, he was dealing with a problem that so many small business owners know all too well. You see, the local market was just a total battlefield. All the driving schools were stuck in this nasty race to the bottom, constantly cutting prices to get the same students. Mr. Walker would slash his prices, but then so would the next guy. It was a dead end. His business was basically going nowhere. Margins were paper thin, and he had no idea how to get out of the rut. And that right there, that was the trap. The old way of thinking is super simple, right? You make money from tuition fees, but that just leads to those awful price wars and you barely make any money. What he really needed was a complete change in perspective. He had to stop thinking about profiting from lessons and start thinking about profiting from a system built around them. So there's Mr. Walker, totally stuck and frustrated. And then he has this chance meeting with a guy named Professor Miller, a real business strategy whiz. And where Mr. Walker saw a dead end, the professor, he saw a massive opportunity, and he laid out this incredible, revolutionary 4-part plan. Okay, so here's the core of the whole strategy. Pay close attention. Step 1, forget tuition fees. Instead, students put down a $1,000, get this, refundable safety deposit. Then the next 3 steps are all about creating smart partnerships with other businesses that a new driver is going to need anyway. You've got finance companies, insurance agencies, and car dealerships. And this quote from the professor really just hits the nail on the head. He told Mr. Walker, you've got to look past the obvious moneymaker, the tuition, and see the whole ecosystem. He basically said the real cash isn't in the driving lesson itself. It's in everything connected to it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Probably the same thing Mr. Walker was. $1,000? That's a lot of money for a student. And hey, if the lessons are free and you give the deposit back, where in the world does that 80 times profit come from? It sounds like smoke and mirrors, I get it, but it's not. Let's really dig into the engine that makes this whole thing run. You see, the absolute genius of this plan wasn't just making the lessons free. It was about completely shifting from selling a product, driving lessons, to building and controlling a whole profitable system. And this chart? Wow. It just lays it all out perfectly. Look at that. Tuition fees, which used to be everything to the business, are now at 0, zilch. Instead, all the money is flowing in from these totally new places: commissions, referral fees from partners, even from just holding on to the deposits. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of where the money is actually coming from. First, what about the students who can't drop $1,000 for the deposit? No problem. Mr. Walker sets them up with an installment plan through a finance partner, and bam, he gets a commission. Then he requires every student to get insurance through his partner agency. Bam, another referral fee. And then the big one, he offers them 0 down financing on a brand new car, and you guessed it, another fat commission. Oh, and all those $1,000 deposits, they're all sitting in a bank account, quietly earning interest. He's making money from every single angle. And this brings us back to what the professor said, which just sums it all up. See, Mr. Walker wasn't in the business of selling driving lessons anymore. He was now selling access, convenience, and a whole package of financial solutions to a group of people who desperately needed them: new drivers. The free lessons? That was just a bait on the hook. So there's actually a name for this kind of thing: system-based profit. It's a model where your main product or service is basically a magnet to attract customers. But the real money, the big money, comes from this whole ecosystem of partnerships and services you build around that free thing. And if that sounds familiar, it should. This is the exact playbook that giants like Google and Facebook use. Your search is free, your social media is free, but the profit comes from that massive advertising system they've built. Look, this is so much bigger than just a clever trick for a driving school.
This is a really powerful lesson for pretty much any business out there. It's about tearing up the old blueprint and completely rethinking how you create and capture value. And you can just feel that aha moment in what Mr. Walker said afterwards. He was like, I've been teaching people to drive for more than 15 years, and I never, ever thought about it this way. Think about that. He was an expert at his craft, but he was so zoomed in on the product that he completely missed the giant financial system that was all around him. And that really brings us to the ultimate takeaway from Professor Miller. Don't just run around chasing the next sale. Instead, take a step back. Design a smart system where you're at the center, and value just flows naturally between you and your partners. Because if you build the right system, the money will literally find you. It becomes almost inevitable.
So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about all the free stuff you use every single day. Google, Instagram, your email. Now that you know the secret, you know they aren't really free. You are part of a system. The only question left is, can you spot where the real money is being made?